welcome to Brand and Becoming. I'm Keisha Shake, and I'm so glad that you can join me here. Every week, I'll be sharing the strategies, mindset shifts, and behind the scenes lessons that help you build a personal brand that people can trust and ultimately help you get more opportunities. Some episodes, it's just me, and other times, I'm joined by incredible guests with some amazing stories who have built careers, businesses, and personal brands on their own terms. So let's settle in and get into today's conversation, and welcome to episode 4. And firstly, as we're on LinkedIn, which is all about networking, please do say hello in the comments and let us know where you're joining in from, and also what focus is and what your goal is for 2026. If you've got a main goal that you want to focus on, then please do let us know as well. But definitely say hello in the comments and where you're tuning in from. So today I'm joined by David Oates, a Chief Revenue Officer with over 35 years experience in tech sales and leadership, including 15 years in commercial real estate. He leads growth at Yavica and advocates for diversity and inclusion, and I'm really excited to have him join me today.
Hi, Keisha.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm good. Apart from a stinking cold, I'm fine.
Oh, so like I spoke to so many people lately that I've got a cold or something, so don't worry at all. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling the same, but yeah, if you do need a minute, just let me know. Don't worry at all.
I'm a sufferer from full-on man flu, so I just want sympathy, basically.
Well, that's okay. We'll get started, and hopefully, like you said, if you do need a second, then just let me know.
Thanks.
When someone asks us what you do today, how would you describe it now? So after 35 plus years in the industry, how would you describe what you do now?
A very old sales guy with a very, very posh title. As CRO working for Yavica, we're a Danish real estate software company providing ERP solutions to the commercial real estate market. Basically, I drive sales and marketing strategy, work with the regional MDs to make sure we're maximising revenue, and it's pretty much as simple as that.
Nice. That was a very nice, simple answer, and I suppose you've nailed that for people that do ask you. And I suppose over the years, you've seen a lot of change in tech, and with everything moving so fast, what's actually, would you say, stayed important over the years? I know it's been quite a while and lots of different eras that you've seen, but what would you say has stayed important throughout that time?
Well, it's certainly changed. When I started, there actually, believe it or not, wasn't a software industry; it was just a hardware business. But I think the thing that stayed consistent is, and I think this subject may come up later with AI, is authenticity is key.
Yeah.
People still ultimately buy off people. They don't buy off bots. And they want to know that the people they're working with are trustworthy, honest, open, transparent. And most importantly, I think, have the customer's interest at heart.
Yeah. I love
And that's
that.
been
I think you're
consistent
so
for 20
right.
odd years.
Yeah. Well, I think the human element always is so important, isn't it? I think what the tools we have or the tech that we have may be evolving, but I think, you and I have spoken before this, and it does come down to being a good person, doesn't it? And
Yeah,
people wanting to work with you because they like you, they believe what you're doing, and they trust you.
agreed.
But then it's how we do it is, I suppose, what's evolved.
Absolutely. And that's why sales, and I'd say this to young people, it's a profession. I see
Yeah,
it as no different from lawyers, accountants, surveyors. It's a profession and you should treat it as such.
yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not always been the case in the UK. We're always viewed as charlatans, right? But we're not. We're all nice people, really.
I agree 100%, and I think to be good at sales is such a skill, isn't it? It's like actually being able to talk to people, actually being able to add value, to learn what you're doing, but also learn what what a customer needs. There's so much that goes into it that
Yeah.
actually is quite a skill in itself. I'm just looking at the comments. Oscar, you are right there. People still buy from people, and they want to know they're trustworthy. Great quote. Yeah, I
Thank you, Oscar.
fully agree. Thanks, Summer. Great to see you join us. And yeah, I totally agree with the people buy from people quote. I don't think that will ever get old, because ultimately at the core of it is that we're all humans and we all want to work with people that we do like, we get on with, and I suppose trust them as well.
And I think with the rise in AI, and we're going to talk about this, I'm sure, but
Mm-hmm.
it's becoming even more important.
Yeah.
How many things do you get on LinkedIn, in mails that talk
Mm-hmm.
about, well, I'll give you a good example. I'm actually, in my spare time, I'm a governor of our local primary school in a village up in Oxfordshire.
Oh, nice.
And I got a message this morning from actually a VC firm saying, we are very impressed with what you've done with your primary school. We can show you how to raise money and increase your business. By what? Producing me more 7-year-old kids?
Yeah.
That's not authentic. That's been
No.
generated by a bot somewhere.
And that's it. That I would say that is the problem that we're having now, is that because there is so much access, and we will talk about, like we said, to bots, to AI, that how that it's something that I talk around a lot with clients and with people in general, how to make sure people can see that you care, that you are a human, that it is personalized message. It's not irrelevant. You have to show that you actually have read their profile, that what you're trying to offer them is useful to them and not completely random or something that they think makes sense in a bot.
Agreed. And I fell into the real estate industry by accident 15 years ago. And one of the reasons I love it is still very much a people-based business, a very interaction-based business.
Yeah.
And relationship is king. And one of the things that Yavika and our CEO Mads have always said is, we have to treat the business like that. It
Yeah.
has to be about the people, whether they're employees of Yavika, or whether it's about the customers that we're working with. We have to build those relationships, because that's how you get trusted advisor status.
Yeah, I agree. And I love that. I think keeping it, I suppose, people focused is really important.
Yeah.
So I know you often talk about focus on outcomes rather than technology for technology's sake. What would you say that means in practice?
I think there's a couple of things. I want to wrap change into this as well. Outcomes, the first thing is, know your journey. Know where you're trying to get to. What are your objectives? I've been saying for a few years now that as a salesperson, whatever your industry, but certainly in our industry, the real estate business, we've been through some bumpy economic times, and CEOs, CFOs, they're not interested in buying anything that doesn't save them money or make them money. So you've got to kind of know your journey, know where you're getting to, know what the outcome is for the customer as well as you.
Yeah.
And then work towards that. And I think we're changing so fast, the fastest we've ever changed. I saw a stat the other day that they always used to say the rate of change in the last 10 years is greater than the rate of change in the history of time. It's now the rate of change in the last year is greater than the rate of change in the history of time, technology wise.
Wow.
You have to embrace change. You have to accept the world is changing, and you have to change with it. I have to change my approach and my style, not every day, but frequently, because the market changes, the technology changes, attitudes change. You've got to be flexible, but it's all down to know your journey.
Yeah.
Know where you're trying to get to and understand the outcome you're working towards.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like you said, everything is changing so quickly. Being able to evolve, learn, constantly upskill, and being able to pivot where needed as well is important, isn't it? And not, I see it as well as people almost being stuck in the old times and not really wanting to change how they're doing business or how they're, selling, or how they're actually, I suppose, even position themselves. From what I do, it's things have got to change. It's not that I'm just telling them that's what's actually happening. That's how we're all buying differently now too, aren't we?
Yeah, and the real estate industry, commercial real estate industry, is always one of the slowest to adopt technology. But even in our industry, the change is coming and people are starting to really embrace it, which is fantastic, something we've not seen in the last 15 years.
That's really good. And I suppose, in your experience, what separates companies and organizations that generally transform from those that just talk around change but never quite get there, do you think?
I think those that are willing to embrace change, first of all, there's always a lack of fear at the top.
Yeah.
There's a visionary approach from the top. There's a guy in the real estate industry called Julian Carey, was one of the first to adopt a Microsoft platform within real estate. Real visionary. And he had no fear. He had this absolute belief in what he was trying to do. And that, for me, epitomizes those organizations that are willing to change. I have a phrase which I learnt. I didn't come up with it. I learnt it, which is progression, not perfection.
I
The
love
search
that.
for the search for perfection kills progression.
Yeah. Well, perfect doesn't
Because
exist, does it?
no, and I see organizations kind of paralyze themselves in the search for perfection.
Yeah. And
Whereas,
then never do anything.
yeah, just start,
Yeah.
just move forward. There's a great quote in Any Given Sunday, the film with Al Pacino. It's
Yeah.
American football. It's a brilliant movie. And he gives this great speech at the end, and it's about clawing for inches.
Yeah.
Win 1 inch at a time, but just move forward.
Mm.
Don't stand still. Don't expect everything to align. You accept you're going to make mistakes. Learn from those mistakes, but keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is what separates great organizations from mediocre or slow-moving organizations.
Mm. Well, I feel like
Progression,
often
not
now,
perfection.
yeah, that's a really good quote. Because I think often now I see it as well when it comes to even people just showing up or people posting content. A lot of people don't post anything or they don't do anything because they're waiting for that perfect post or they're waiting for it to be a perfect time. But I say the same. It's like there's no perfect way to do this. It's keep posting, and then be
Yeah,
consistent, and then you can learn as you go in and look back at analytics, look back at what's worked, what you could have done better. But if you don't do anything, you're never going to get anywhere.
don't be frightened of it.
Yeah, that's a great quote. So with, and I know we've spoken around this before, so I feel like I know a little bit more of an insight, but not loads. So I'm excited to explore this with you and for everyone else to hear a bit more around it. But you are very open about your commitment to diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
Where did that passion come from personally? And I suppose how long ago did you realise that you've got a passion for
Um,
this?
so there was 2 areas it came. I am passionate about equality and diversity and inclusion, and not just the traditional topics of race, religion, gender, sexuality, whatever, but also neurodiversity.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm, and then with the current politics, this is really, really important right now.
Mm,
I'm not going to get into that, but I don't want to be a Tommy Robinson or a Nigel Farage or a Donald, whoever it might be. But the reality is, if we're not diverse, we're missing out on a huge skill set and a huge talent pool.
mm,
But more important than that, we're missing out on a whole set of diversity of ideas
yeah.
and diversity of thought. Where it came from, there was 2 things actually. One was I wrote an article, pretty woolly article, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, about diversity because I thought it was quite a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And then I got a call off an African real estate lawyer out of the blue,
Mm,
and he said, "I'd really like to meet you for coffee, but I'd like to talk through your article." So I went to meet him, and he talked to me about the 3 basic types of racism. One is the overt racism, which we see in the press a lot,
yeah.
and we see on the news. The second thing is what he called racism for amusement, and that was laughing at racist jokes or things like that. And the third one was passive racism, where you see it but you don't do anything about it.
Mm,
And that really struck a chord with me. And then following on from that, I'm in a mixed race marriage. I'm married to an African girl who has been fantastic, amazing
oh,
experience, to the point that we got married in South Africa. I was the only white guy at the wedding. Right? It was amazing. I had a fantastic time.
yeah.
Um, and that taught me a lot more about what racism really looks like. But those 2 things combined to the point where I then widened that out to, gay friends and people who've got disabled kids and we all know people like that. It's not that
Yeah.
I live in this wonderful, warm, fluffy world. We all know people like that. And we have to give all those people the same opportunity. We
Hmm.
have to embrace the fact they think sometimes differently and therefore have ideas I couldn't come up with,
Yeah.
which is, something I need to learn from and take the best out of those. And, the fact is there is a war on talent out there,
Mm,
right? It is really hard hiring the best talent and finding the best talent why would you cut your pool down?
Yeah.
Now, again, Yavika, I'm really proud of the fact that Yavika is a phenomenally diverse organization. We have, well, first of all, we've got locations all over the world, but we've got, even in our Copenhagen head office or in the UK or in the the Central European office, we've got really wide diversity, and it's embraced. Actually, it's more than that. It's more important that it's not that it's embraced, it's not noticed.
That's
And
amazing.
that's real diversity.
Yeah.
When you don't see it, you're not aware of it. It's just people around you.
Yeah. And like you said, different perspective, different ideas, different, viewpoints, but also when it comes to working with different clients or sales, it's like resonating with other people who resonate with you. And like if there's different people within the team, that's only going to go and be a
Absolutely.
benefit.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to, I suppose even hiring and actually, within the organization, making sure that it's diverse, how have you gone around doing that? Is when it kind of comes to actual practice, because I know I know actually having this in place is a big thing, but how have you gone about making sure that you have got a diverse team?
By ignoring it.
Yeah.
I know
Okay.
that's a very flip answer, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't even come into your thought process.
Yeah.
Take the best people for the best roles.
Mm.
One of the most successful people I've ever met in my life worked with me when he was a young kid, a guy called Dean Forbes. I'm really proud of what Dean's achieved. He's from a Caribbean background, played football for Guyana, I think. Came from a really difficult part of London, childhood, is
Mhm.
now one of the most successful Afro-Caribbean English businessmen in the UK, named in the top 10, I think, maybe even the top
Oh,
one.
wow.
And I look at people like Dean, and Dean succeeded when it was much harder, when we
Mm.
weren't as diverse. I look at that and I think somebody somewhere could have turned him down
Yeah.
because he didn't fit the stereotypical white middle class, private school educated real
Mm.
estate person, which the real estate industry has been accused of being pale, male, and stale. But Dean worked for me. Was my number two. God, mid 2000s,
Mm.
and even then, and he was only about 24, 25. If he's listening to this, he'll tell me I'm telling him he's too old or too young, one of the two. Even then, I learned so much from him.
Yeah. It's
And,
amazing.
if you read his LinkedIn post, you can still learn from him. The
Yeah.
fact is, you come back to your original question, it's about having no view of color, no view of
Mm.
religion, no view of gender, no view of sexuality. You're just viewing the person.
Yeah.
If I'm interviewing you, Kaisha, are you the right person for the role that I'm interviewing for? If you
Yeah.
are, I don't care what your background is. If you're not, I still don't care what your background is. You're just not right for the role, right?
Yeah. That's what it should come down to. Although it's not,
Absolutely.
I know you have got a really good approach to it, but it's not always the case, is it, within other organisations? So I think yours is really refreshing.
Yeah, and politically, we're in a country, we're at a bit of a flipping point, right? It's racism and lack of diversity, lack of inclusion. For me, is at the worst point it's been since the 70s.
Mm.
And I grew up in the 60s and 70s. You may not believe it from this face, but I'm actually quite old. And I think that's a real worry. I think I
Mm.
don't want to get into political debate, but it's a real worry because it starts to limit opportunities.
Yeah, which we don't want. I'm just having a
No.
look at some of the comments so we can just maybe respond to them. Hi, Lennart. So I agree 100% with David. Competence has nothing to do with ethical background or sex. So yeah, that's good. And then got a question as well. So from Osama, I agree from the point made that we should bring change. Regarding to this, I have a question that I moved from my home country to Bahrain only to boost my design studio. So how can I grab and attract focus of people in the Middle East? Have you got
Osama,
any?
that's a great question. Um, you've picked a difficult area to do it in. But I've spent some time in the Middle East. I still think the core tenets hold true. Be the best you can be, go serve your prospective customers' needs, and make sure that you become trusted by that potential customer. I have to believe, or else everything I think goes out the window, but I have to believe, irrespective of where you are in the world, at a business level, I'm not talking politically, but at a business level, if you're the right person for the job, if you have a solution that meets a customer's need, and if you can build trust with that prospect, you ultimately will be successful.
Great advice, David. And so from my point of view, it's that building trust, but also being visible. So get yourself out there, post content, and be helpful to your ideal prospect, and
Agreed.
let them know who you are. Otherwise, if they don't know who you are, then it's already going to be difficult to open the door. So start posting valuable content that they'll find useful and kind of build that trust with you that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for that. And I suppose it goes quite nicely on to you mentoring, and I suppose you mentoring a lot of younger professionals. What would you say one or two lessons that you find yourself constantly repeating yourself when it comes to mentoring, whether that's from actually mentoring the younger professional or from an organizational both standpoint?
Okay. I think I want to talk from my standpoint, and where I had a challenge when I moved from a traditional real estate company at Argus Software, subsequently the Altus Group, which had been around a long time, had kind of set ways of doing things, did it brilliantly, and still do. And actually, where I worked for the best CEO I've ever met, a guy called Bob Courteau. There's a couple of things that you have to understand. One is motivations have changed. Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Alpha. I don't even know what the right term is anymore. All I know is I'm a baby boomer, right? Which meant I was born between 55 and 65. Our motivations, my generation's motivations, were all about money, power, progression, right? We were all highly materialistic. We all wanted the flash car. We wanted the $1,000 suit. We wanted the big office. We wanted the fancy title. We wanted to know, we were respected. I think what I learned, it took me a long time when I first started to work in a SaaS environment, which was by its very nature a much younger demographic of employee. Those motivations have changed. People want work-life balance, right? They don't want to be working 50, 60 hours a week, which we all did because we kind of felt we had to.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily, it's not all about money. Of course they want to earn money, that's fine, but it's not all about money. It's about job satisfaction. It's about the working environment. It's about the people they work with. It's about recognition. It's about a really good work-life balance. And I think we just have to accept, and I'm at the end of my career, right? But, well, not quite as close as I wanted to be, but anyway, we have to accept that if the motivation has changed, if you can't understand what motivates a team member or an employee, how can you get them going in the right direction?
Yeah, so true.
So looking at, how do I talk to younger professionals, and I do some work outside Yavica with younger people. There's a couple of things I also spin back to them, which is kind of opposite to their motivations, but there's a reason for it. I always say to them, look, see the big picture, understand where you want to go, right? And then figure out the process, work the process, but commit to doing it. Right? Yeah. Don't do it half-heartedly. And I have seen with the newer generation, sometimes that level of, I'm not talking about committing lots and lots of hours, but just commit properly to the time you're working.
Yeah, there's so many distractions now as well, isn't there? Like, which maybe weren't there before. So, but
absolutely,
younger, so it's almost like, wait, I'm distracted by this or by TikTok or by something else. So it's almost like having that focus and the commitment is a huge thing, isn't it, to instill?
Well, and it's committing to be the best person you can be in a work setting, right? Yeah. I mean, we talked about being a good person anyway, but
Yeah.
You've got to work at being good. I'm a
Yeah.
musician for fun. I have to practice.
Yeah.
If you talk to a sportsman, they have to practice. Work's no different,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your career's no different. You've got to work at it.
Mm.
Not just the work itself, but you've got to work at being good at your work.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think, if you can wrap all that up with the motivational stuff as well, I have a lot of faith in the future of the workforce.
Mm.
As long as nothing horrible happens in the world, I have a lot of faith in the workforce. I think, we've got lots of talent in this country and all over the world, and we've got to embrace it.
Mm. I think that's some good advice, but also knowing the motivation is huge, because if you don't know the motivation, then it's going to be hard to inspire people or get them on the same journey as you, or
Absolutely.
to lead them.
Absolutely.
And I suppose that when it comes to um, sales, when it comes to technology, there's obviously lots of automation now that we can use. There's lots of different things that we can utilize to help with our roles. But how do you make sure, from your point of view, that the human side doesn't disappear? Which obviously, as we talked around, is very important that we stay human.
So, okay, so let's just talk about AI for a second. For me, this is the first really significant major step forward in technology, probably since the mobile phone. Okay.
Mm.
Because everything else over the last 25 years has been incremental.
Mm.
There's been a move forward in the way we do things, but incrementally. AI is a game changer. And I think a lot of people of my age are scared stiff of AI. Not that they should be, because it's not going to affect their jobs. They'll be retired before it really has an impact. But I think AI is a really positive thing if
Mm.
used properly.
Yeah.
And what do I mean by that? AI needs human intervention, right? Because AI can do a lot of the background work, can do a lot of the research work, can do a lot of assessment, but it will never, ever, well, I'm not saying ever, because who knows? Right now, it can't use judgment. It can only
Yeah.
use fact-based stuff. Right? And therefore it needs that human intervention to make it real and authentic.
Mm.
And I'm going to use an example outside work. There's a big move at the moment. There's lots on social media and online about AI generated music. Okay.
Mm.
So it might be Anarchy in the, oh no, nobody will remember the Sex Pistols. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good artist. Lady Gaga, done in the style of Frank Sinatra. Right?
Mm.
So you take a pop song and you turn it into a different genre and it'll sound amazing. I've heard Metallica done in the style of a 50s singing group. Amazing.
Yeah.
But it's not authentic.
Mm.
And we have a lot, because as I say, I'm in a band and involved with the local music scene. We've had a lot of debate about, is live music going to die? No, it isn't, because AI can't recreate the excitement of a gig.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's true in the business world. People like me, younger versions of me, will always have a job, because
Mm.
customers still need to trust somebody.
Yeah.
They still need to interact with a human being.
Mm.
And I know not all human beings are as good looking and charming as I am, right? Or as young, or with such great hair. But they need to interact with a human being.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that will never change, because you're never going to have real trust in a machine.
Mm.
You might trust the facts, but you won't trust the machine. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, totally.
And that will always be the case. And that's why, I am worried, or not worried. I think worried's a good word. I think I am concerned for people that work in manufacturing, for example, on the
Mm.
shop floor,
Mm.
right? Those jobs are probably going to disappear.
Mm.
But there's other jobs that will never disappear, right? You're not going to get a robot being the concierge at a hotel.
Yeah.
You're not going to get, you might get a robot digging the motorway up,
Mm.
but you're never going to get away from, the police helping you when you're stuck, or the AA,
Yeah,
for
that's it.
example. So there's jobs that just can't be replaced. I don't believe can be replaced by machines.
Yeah,
Um, but a lot of it, and my message to people would be, just embrace it.
yeah. Use it to your
Embrace it and make sure
advantage.
you work alongside it.
And I think, yeah, that's really true. And I think use it to your advantage, but also keeping that human element alive. And I know it's something that we've spoken about before, but and I think like when it even comes down to if you are in sales, how you can make sure that people can see that it is actually you messaging them, or it is actually you
Yeah,
that's doing this. Because I think that because there is so much now with bots or automation, even when it comes to as email outreach, LinkedIn outreach, or lots of different things that we can be doing. It's make sure that you are relevant and valuable, but people can see that it is you as well. Is there anything
yeah.
that you kind of advise your sales teams and teams to do to make sure that people can see that they're human, or kind of go the extra mile to stand out?
We're not a heavily email LinkedIn based
Yeah,
organization because of the very small targets opportunities we have in any given year.
yeah,
However, what I would say is I'm going to use an example actually, which is LinkedIn job ads.
mm,
For me, the worst thing LinkedIn ever did was the easy apply button.
yeah,
Don't use the easy apply button. And it's a general concept you can apply for everything. Take the time to reach out to somebody.
mm,
Make sure that whatever you tell them is personalized. Don't just generate an email on ChatGPT, cut and paste it into your Outlook and send it.
people can tell a mile
Um,
off, can't they, as well?
oh, yeah, you can tell it's easy. Um, use AI as a framework and a prompting mechanism.
Mm,
So I do it all the time. Right? If I've got to draft, we've just worked on our 5-year strategy. When I was looking at developing the partner strategy, right? I got a load of stuff off ChatGPT on what's a world class partner strategy look like.
yeah,
I didn't just cut and paste it. I
mm,
took that as a framework. Okay, I'll take that idea, that idea, that idea, and I'll cut my research time down. But then I'll produce the deck on my own, so
yeah,
it's in my voice. Um, as you said earlier, people can spot authenticity.
mm,
It's a bit like the VC writing to me as a governor of Chelby Primary School. Right?
yeah, yeah.
You can spot it. It's not hard.
It goes
Um,
such a long way to personalize the message as well. Like you said, don't just click the easy apply button, because you're so much more likely to be left with all the other applicants if you haven't gone that extra step of connecting or sending a message and saying, "Oh, I
Send a
noticed you also
personalised
used to work
message.
at this place, or we've got this in common." That
Agreed.
type of thing goes a long way,
100%.
doesn't it?
And it's the same when you're selling, when you're
Yeah,
talking to clients. Um, it used to be an old trick. I still use it. When you're talking to a client and he tells you, "Oh, I've got to take tomorrow off, it's my wife's birthday," write it down.
yeah, yeah.
Next year, say to him, "Oh, wish your wife happy birthday for me." I know it sounds twee and trite, but it
Shows you
proves you're
care though.
human. It
Yeah,
proves you. Well, it's more about now. It proves you're human, right? You're
yeah,
not a
true.
bot.
Yeah,
Bots don't know when your wife's birthday is, or the dog's been to the vets, whatever.
yeah,
But that's how you connect with people. You connect by being interested in them,
mm,
and bots
yeah.
can't do that.
And again, people like to feel like recognised, don't they? And that you have took that time to note
Agreed.
something, or it just goes such a. It's like it's either the difference between getting ignored or not getting the opportunity, whether it's a sale or a new lead or a career opportunity, or getting it is just kind of that extra personalisation.
And it's
Getting
almost like I come back to something we were talking about a little while ago. Talking about teams and leadership.
mm,
Right? People in your team need to know they're listened to.
yeah,
Take the time. Just take the time. Don't give them "oh, thanks for your email, I'll get back to you later." If they've
mm,
sent you an email with something in it and they need to talk, send them a note back saying, "Great, let's find a time in the diary in the next 2 days."
yeah.
Right? Make them feel listened to and important.
And then they'll want
And
to
that's
do
what
it.
AA can't do.
Yeah, yeah, true. So Stephanie's just put 100%. Hi, Stephanie, as well. 100% human connection is always going to be needed, and more so in the future when it will be more valued. Totally agree with that.
Great comment, Stephanie.
Hi, Richard. Technological change is always going to happen. A question I ask people is which aspect of technological, can't even say this word properly, change do they draw the line on people accept photographers, smartphones, online banking, etc.
Photocopiers. Richard, you must be nearly as old as me. I started out selling photocopiers, by the way, which was quite interesting.
Oh, wow. Well, good.
1983.
You've been evolving as the times have gone on then, but
Yeah.
good way to start. I think the human element goes such a long way.
It
And
does, and I think Osama sums it up there. No need to be afraid of AI.
yeah, totally. So we have a segment called Brand Truth or Brand Myth. It's a bit of fun, but I just want to get your view on it, if it's a truth or a myth and why. So I've got a couple of statements for you.
Okay.
So the first one is AI will replace most of what great sales leaders do in the next few years.
Myth.
And why?
And if I'm wrong, I'll be out of the industry by then. So hey, but no, I think great leaders of any kind will never be replaced by AI, because I honestly believe that AI will never be able to inspire. They'll never be able to generate trust, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And right now, they don't necessarily have the power of creative reasoning.
Yeah.
And great leaders think creatively.
Yeah, really, really good answer. And I suppose I agree with that as well. I think AI, I suppose we've all agreed in the comments as well, can definitely help, but not replace.
Agreed.
So next one, brand truth or brand myth. So is this a truth or a myth? Inclusive leadership is a nice to have, not a commercial advantage.
Absolute myth.
And why?
Inclusive leadership is, so what we talked about earlier, it's about seeing anybody as a person and nothing else.
Yeah.
You don't segment them by, race, religion, sex, whatever. And I think if you do not have inclusivity and diversity in your organization and a policy of embracing it, you're missing out on a huge amount of power of collective thought, but also talent pool. So if you miss out on talent pool, then your competitive edge is going to get diminished.
Yeah. Like I said, it's different point of views, different questions, different challenges that they bring in terms of like different ideas that they kind of
Agreed.
come to you with as well, don't they? But also from my point of view on this point, when it comes to commercial advantage, if you have got a diverse team and you're looking to be good, strong at selling, that's only going to strengthen what you're doing, because people can resonate with different people within the team and you're not all the same.
Yeah.
So
Who wants to work with a bunch of clones, right?
Yeah, that's it. And last one, it's a brand truth or brand myth. Digital transformation fails because of people, not technology.
Absolute truth. That's a great question. Right? Digital transformation succeeds for me, and we're in a digital transformation industry. Yabika is very much about digital transformation in commercial real estate. Digital transformation is supported by technology. It's driven by visionaries. It's driven by people who get the problem, understand what they're trying to achieve, and understand how technology can support that.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely true.
Yep. Well, I think, totally get what you're saying there. So thank you. And suppose I've got a question more around. I just want to dig into it a little bit, especially as we call brand and becoming, and everything that we're trying to help people with is to build in their brands and to get more opportunities, whether that's career opportunities or sales opportunities. What would you say building a personal brand is actually becoming part of the role now? And if so, what's one simple thing that people could do to get started, in your opinion?
Do I think it's becoming part of the role now? No, I think it's been part of the role for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not been recognised as much as it is now with the advent of, I know it's over 10 years now, but with the advent of social media.
Yeah.
We didn't need a personal brand in the old days because, I never got in the paper. It wasn't necessary. I think personal brand is important. I think presence in your own market space credibility, visibility can
Mm,
only help you.
yeah.
And building a personal brand for me is there's a couple of things. One is being visible, which you've talked about, and I know it's part of your
Yeah.
consultancy work. And the other thing is being slightly contentious. And what I mean by that is have something interesting to say.
Yeah.
People want to hear interesting points.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear boring podcasts. They don't want to read boring posts. Now, people might
Mm.
have found this boring. I hope not. But you've
Don't think
got
so.
to have a meaningful and useful view on things
Mm.
that engages your listener, your reader, your dinner guest, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Have an opinion.
Well, yeah, totally. And I think with building a personal brand, it comes down to having an opinion, but it's down to perception. So it's what people think of you, both externally from the company that you're working for and internally as well. So how people perceive you is your choice, isn't it? How you show up, how you talk to people, what you say, what you don't say. So everything you do has
Yeah.
an impact on it.
It's almost like, one of those old quiz games of what would you like to see on your headstone?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And a lot of that, for me, a lot of that comes back to, first of all, be known as a decent human being.
yeah,
Be known as somebody you can trust, somebody's open, somebody's honest, um, and be known as somebody who's an expert in their field.
yeah,
Right? People want to learn from people who understand what they're talking about.
yeah,
So I'm not an expert in real estate, but I try to make sure I'm aware of it and I can talk sensibly about it. And I think one of the great skills of any good salesperson is they can talk reasonably knowledgeably on a whole range of subjects.
yeah,
But particularly, they can talk very knowledgeably on their specialist market, their specialist field, whatever it might be.
yeah.
Have something useful to contribute.
I love that, and I think people want to work with experts, don't they? And I think when I've seen people try and almost be too broad and cater to everyone,
Yeah,
then it almost turns people away because they're like, "You're not really helping me with my problem," or they don't really understand my issue or
agreed.
what I'm going through. So even having that perceived obviously you want to be an expert, but perceived like I understand what you're going through. This is the industries that I'm focused on. This is what I do. It goes a long way from people not just putting you in a broad category.
Yeah, it comes back to the first time you go and talk to a customer, a prospect, at least do some research and know something about his business.
Yeah,
Even if it's that just picking up a headline or, reading the annual report. And I know it's really old school,
mm,
but if you can talk sensibly about their business, show empathy about their problems, you instantly become more trustworthy and more believable.
yeah. I agree. I think those little but extra steps that you take go such a long way, don't they? So you're not
Yeah,
just somebody else that's just trying to talk to. So just got another comment for you. So then, thanks for your insights, David. Very much like to touch more touch base with you and
thanks,
continue.
Leonard.
So, so my last question for you, um, and again, this is for us personal too, but also yeah, interesting to know what you're going to be planning next and what you're working on next. So, what are you becoming next?
Okay, so well, I really want to become a rock star, but that's probably not going to happen now. I'll
You
keep
already are
playing with
one.
the band. I'll keep trying, but um, I think from a work perspective, I'm 100% committed to Yavika.
Nice.
We have massive ambitions for this business. We've just come through our planning and strategy phase for the next 5 years. Really excited about that. Really excited about the fact that I think we can revolutionize the real estate industry in lots of ways. Once I get through that, which I think will be the next 5 years,
Hmm.
um, hopefully I am financially well off that enough that I can just go, do you know what? I'll be 66 then. I'm going to play golf, walk my dog, and play with my grandkids, but still play
Oh,
rock and roll. And that's
yeah.
it.
Well, that's a nice goal, a nice dream, I suppose, it to work towards as well. And
It
I think
is.
it's not. It's also good that, well, great that you're in a company that you're really enjoying and part of their kind of growth, and it's exciting,
Yeah,
which is a really nice place to
it
be.
is. It's fantastic. I'm having a great time at the moment.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I've really appreciated it. It's only episode 4, so really, really happy that you are here as well. And how can people connect with you? Is it mainly on LinkedIn that you want people to reach out?
LinkedIn, definitely. I'm on Instagram. I'm going to put a shameless plug now. If you want to
Yeah, do
connect
it.
to the vodka shots, you can see what I'm doing musically on Instagram and on Facebook. But yeah, mainly through LinkedIn. Happy to talk to anybody. Drop me a DM and I will always reply.
Well, thank you very much. And like I said,
Thanks,
appreciate
Keisha.
it. And hi, Mark. Great to hear you speak at long last, David. Mark, do you know Mark?
That's one of my great musician friends who I will be seeing on Friday night with his fantastic band, the Britpop Band.
Oh, lovely. Well, that'll be nice. Well, enjoy your Friday as well. And thank
Brilliant.
you everyone for
Thank
tuning
you,
in.
Keisha.
You're welcome. If you are here
Speak to you
watching
soon.
live, thank you for all your comments. If you are watching in the replay, do comment as well when you do watch, as it's really good to see where you're tuning in from and what your goals are for next year. But thank you. Thanks, David. Bye bye.
Thanks, Keisha. Bye.